directly linked to Ukraine. That, my friends, is what we are here to say. Russia is a terrorist state.
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 Stop Russia, stop the war.
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 Tribunal for Russian war criminals.
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 Let it be known also that one of the main reasons why we will speak about the Iranian cause, the cause of the people in Iran who want freedom, is because Russia unequivocally supports the terrorist Ayatollah regime. Russia was one of the first countries to give its condolences to Iran when its president died, in a very stupid way, by the way, flying an outdated Western helicopter. I mean, so much for the so-called evil West, I guess. Iran might hate the West with a passion. The Iranian terrorist government, the Ayatollah government, might hate the West. But they are still using the Western equipment because they know that they can do no better. That, my friends, is something that shows that we, the free world, are in the right. This, my friends, is where the good quality of life is. This is where freedom is. This is where the future is. But in Russia, there's only death, poverty, extermination, and genocide. That's the only thing Russia has to bring to the table. Sometimes we hear songs and dances about this so-called beautiful Russian culture. My friends, we wish we could see that culture if it were not covered by a veil of propaganda. The Russian terrorist regime tries to weaponize its culture, tries to weaponize its language, tries to weaponize its very ethnicity. Every single country with a Russian minority is on the risk of invasion by the Russian terrorist regime. Every single one. And it is true that a lot of these Russians might not want them. But it is also true that Putin is not asking their opinion for anything. Putin does what he wants to do. And he will continue doing as such until he is dealt with, my friends. And the only way for us to deal with Putin, deal with this autocrat, deal with this terrorist Russian regime, is to help Ukraine win this war at long last. A war that could have been won long ago, if only Ukraine got the right equipment. Not too long ago, Zelensky has made an announcement. For the very first time in this war, Ukraine had enough shells to fight against the Russian terrorist regime. For the very first time. And this is after all of these big packages have been provided to Ukraine. So before this, Ukraine had to be perpetually on the back foot because there was simply not enough to fight back against the Russian terrorist regime, to defend Ukraine and defend the free world against barbarism, against enslavement, against terrorism. My friends, arms keep peace. What are good values worth if you are attacked by a terrorist regime, you are oppressed, you are destroyed, and you are genocided? What are good values worth in a situation like that? We need to be able to defend ourselves no matter what. Ukraine needs to be able to defend itself. And Ukraine will defend itself if we provide them everything they need. Fight the jets for Ukraine!
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 Air defense for Ukraine!
Air defense for Ukraine!
Air defense for Ukraine!
Air defense for Ukraine.
Air defense for Ukraine.
Air defense for Ukraine.
Help Ukraine protect peace.
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 My friends, once again, let's not forget about what was done in the past, because the past gives us a glimpse into the future. We do not want to return to that past. No. The Russian terrorist regime wants to return to that past. They have repeatedly said that they want to bring back the Soviet Union. It is no coincidence, of course, that on many of their tanks that have invaded Ukraine, there was a red flag of death being flied, symbolizing the genocide of the Soviet Union. Taunting the Ukrainian people, shouting in their face and saying that they could do it again. In fact, the Russian propaganda machine oftentimes says that. Kill, 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 and kill some more. This is their message. And I am not hyperbolizing it, my friends. This is exactly what Solovyov has said, one of the main Russian propagandists. Thank you, my friend. And speaking of propagandists, let's talk about Tucker Carlson, the newest and biggest Russian propagandist of our days. Now, for those who might feel a little confused and might not understand what exactly we're talking about here, Tucker Carlson has indeed started his show on Russian television. He has already released the first episode. I will be honest with you, my friends, I have not yet watched it. I have only watched a few snippets. I don't feel, considering that I'm a little sick, I don't feel I'm strong enough to endure such cringe and such word juggling as Tucker Carlson will surely put in his absolutely atrocious show. My friends, some people will sell their soul for pennies. Tucker Carlson is selling his soul for millions of rubles, which will become pennies very soon. Mark our word. Hopefully Tucker Carlson is not too sad when his assets get frozen alongside with the Russian assets and get sent to the Ukrainian people to rebuild Ukraine against the terrorist regime that has hurt it so much. My friends, Tucker Carlson has already done a lot of damage. He has consistently tried to sway the American conservatives, the American Republicans, in favor of the Russian terrorist regime. Let it be known to the whole world, Russia is an enemy of the West, a sworn enemy, an enemy that has decided to be as such. They will not stop until either the West collapses or until Russia collapses. Now Russia has very few chances of victory, very few. But why, my friends, why should we allow innocent people to die when we can simply help Ukraine by giving it everything it needs to win and save Ukrainian lives with that? Indeed, by destroying, by annihilating the Russian military in Ukraine, many lives, countless lives will be saved. Because the Russians are the ones coming to kill. The Russian terrorist regime is the one who wants to destroy Ukraine. Is the one who wants to destroy the West. And we will not let that happen, my friends. Let it be known that the traitors will not be forgotten. That the people who, when their aid was the most necessary, turned their back on the free world. Let it be known that those people can never be trusted. Let it be known that people who sell their soul for pennies will do the same to everything that they hold dear. And these individuals can most certainly not be trusted either. Look at what happened at Prigozhin, with Yevgeny Prigozhin. He had a good deal with Putin, or at least he thought so. But then, bada bing, bada boom, Prigozhin has died in a supposed plane accident. That's right. the tallest window on earth, that's what he fell from. My friends, I will never tire mentioning Prigozhin, honestly. And sometimes people have joked about it. They've mentioned that he's my best friend and I really love him. I don't. I do not love him. I mention his example because it is education. Because it shows to everybody in the world that to try to make deals with the Russian terrorist regime is suicide. No matter who you are, no matter where you are. My friends, we know what happens to those who try to help Russia. Not too long ago, there was a big scandal. Countries like India, Nepal, and a few other developing countries have had a lot of people go to Russia to have back-of-house jobs. At least that's what it was advertised as. They thought they were going to Russia to mop floors and cook food. But in reality, they went to Russia to pick up rusty Kalashnikovs and to charge at the Ukrainian lines. They were not happy, let me tell you that. I believe some of them might have smuggled the phone in. They have filmed many videos complaining over and over again about what the Russian terrorist regime had done to them. But at that point, my friends, it's too late. It's far too late. When this disgusting monster gets its paws upon you, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do but suffer and regret your decisions of the past. That, my friends, is not a future that we want. That, my friends, is not a future that we strive for. The future we strive for is a future of peace, a future of prosperity, a future of diplomacy. However, how can we have diplomacy with the Russian terrorist regime who breaks every single treaty it makes with us? How can we sue for peace? And once again, my friends, this has never been a matter of pride. The Ukrainians have accepted a deal that did not favor them at all. They accepted the two Minsk agreements in which Ukrainian lands would simply go away and they would be transitioned to Russia. The Ukrainians have accepted them. Who broke those treaties, my friends? Russia did. Okay. All right, thank you, my friends, thank you. I mean, after a whole bunch of offers, I finally submit to the kindness, and I will have this umbrella again. Thank you very much. It's actually a good idea, for at least for the microphone. We don't want to get the microphone wrong. But my friends, I digress. Let's go back to business. Let's go back to what actually matters. Tucker Carlson's betrayal of the American people should not be forgotten and should not be forgiven. Those who sow dissent in the ranks of their allies, in the ranks of their friends, in the ranks of those who have helped them, of those who have accepted them, are the most disgusting people. My friends, that is the most unacceptable thing someone can do. As the saying goes, the worst thing about betrayal is that it never comes from the enemy. And that saying is always unequivocally true. So we must see what Russia is. Russia is not our friend. Russia is not neutral. Russia is an enemy. Nay, Russia is the enemy of the West. And it will continue being the enemy of the West until at long last its terrorist government is put down for good. My friends, we never agreed and we will never agree with the Russian terrorist regime's rhetoric. We do not simply switch things around and start saying, just like they are saying about us, because they are saying they're going to kill Ukrainians. They're going to exterminate Ukrainians until they submit. That, my friends, is what the Russian terrorist regime is saying over and over again. We will not reciprocate. We never said and never will say foolish things of the sort of exterminating all Russians. That, my friends, is actually a very close idea to what neo-Nazis believe in, to what Hitler believed in. So Putin should keep that in mind. But Putin, of course, he's been shilling for Hitler over and over again. What we want, my friends, is three things. First, the devolution of all lands to Ukraine. all the lands that were Ukrainian before 2014, the beginning of this war, will be given back. Second, the payment of reparations to Ukraine by the Russian terrorist regime. It can be gradual, doesn't have to be all at once. We do not wish to destroy the Russian people themselves. We only wish to recover what we have lost, to recover what they have taken away from us. And third and most important, my friends, the complete and utter collapse of the Russian terrorist regime. These are our conditions for peace. This, my friends, is what we are going to achieve together. All together, we will win.
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 World, wake up!
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 Stop Russia, stop the war!
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 Seize Russian assets!
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 You see, my friends, once again I would like to reiterate, as we have said many times in the past, we are not like the Russian terrorist regime. We do not apply the same rules and the same disgusting methods to them as they apply to us. We want to beat their regime, to destroy their regime, but we will never commit any genocide of their people. Now they do not care. They do not care how many people they kill, how many people they exterminate. They want to take over Ukraine. And that is all that matters to them. That, my friends, is the big difference between us. Once again, we do not want any infighting for people who might believe in different ideologies. Every single person who supports us is welcome to our rallies. However, we need to understand that we are here to talk about Ukraine. We cannot physically speak about every single issue, the myriad of issues that exist in the world. For our world, my friends, has many problems. And 2 hours is, as you might expect, a very limited time frame. We do not have time to cover every single issue in the world. We have time to cover our issue. We have time to cover the issues of our friends, those who stand side by side with us, like the Iranian people, Stage of Freedom, and the many other organizations that stand with a free Iran against the Ayatollah regime, against the terrorist Ayatollah regime. Let it be known, my friends, that those who support the Ayatollah flag, they show their true colors. Every single time you see the Ayatollah flag, that disgusting bastardization of the real Iranian flag, needs to know that they will be remembered. We will not forget the people who have betrayed the people of Iran. We always remember that the IRGC, just like the KGB, are terrorist organizations. In fact, the KGB was back in the Soviet Union. Nowadays, they rebranded. They call themselves the FSB. These, my friends, are terrorist organizations, and they need to be stopped. We need to stop terrorism, not only around our borders, but in these sources of that terrorism. And Iran, just like Ukraine, is a country with countless resources that could be used for good. But instead, Iranian resources are being used to wage war against the innocents, are being used to help the Russian terrorist regime. That, my friends, is something that needs to stop. Just like the Russian terrorist regime, just like the Ayatollah terrorist regime, just like the North Korean terrorist regime. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you very much. We stand with the people of Iran. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have the same cause, after all. You know, the Iranians, they have shown real resolve to fight against that terrorist regime. We only wish the same resolve was shared by all the other countries in the world that host these terrorist regimes. And of course, we mentioned the Russian terrorist regime. If in Russia the resistance was as strong as in Iran, then Russia would have changed long ago. But alas, unfortunately, unlike the Iranian people, the Russians still sympathize with the terrorists. They sympathize with the killers. The butcher of Tehran has died. And that's a good thing. And then they blame the US. That's the funny part. They blame the US because of the embargoes, because they didn't have the details to rebuild the Western helicopter he was flying on. Now that's the funny part. These individuals, these terrorists, they will blame the West for anything. That, my friends, is why we cannot close our eyes to the plight of other people, even if they have their fight on the other side of the world. Iran could be part of the free world, but we believe it will be. Will be one day for sure. So thank you very much, my friends. Thank you very much for your support. We will see you in the Stage of Freedom rallies. We will see you there. Make sure you come there. We will always come there to give our support to you guys. Always. Because your fight is our fight and your victory is our victory. Let that be known to everyone. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. Slava Ukraini! Slava нації! Україна! 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 Героям України тричі!
Слава! Слава! Слава!
Now, my friends, we will have a short musical break.
Russia is a terrorist state.
Russia is a terrorist state.
Russia is a terrorist state.
Russia is a terrorist state. Добре, будемо старатися більше.